Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, it's probably been about 10 minutes since I turned off the video that you watched yesterday and I'm ready to continue. So I didn't do anything at the bottom here other than add a few extra pins. I was pretty happy with the way that came together. So I just added a few extra pins. I guess that's me saying to myself, it's looking good. I've got 3 spots to do something in at the moment using the cream backgrounds from Rachel's packs to give me a space to work in. So I'm just going to move it up a little bit. I might bring the camera out a little bit so you can see more of a whole view. There's Pepper barking at something. So I just want to continue on, I guess, working in some of these pieces of fabric that I can embellish with who knows what. Who knows? At the moment, it's just all about getting these pieces down. I don't know what design I'm going to do. I guess, want to enjoy the William Morris. Don't trim that because that's a good edge that can be under something, and by trimming it I'm sort of cutting it down in size. So I might pop that up in that corner. I need another piece of Rachel fabric and I have this one. Okay. Who knows where this project lead me? Even if I just get it stitched down and then have a bit of time to think about the designs that go onto it. I don't know. I think once I start stitching, I will find that all of that will come to me because I'm, taking time to embroider the background down. So in that space, you're sort of constantly immersed in it and looking at it, and I think I need another piece of that up there. So I'm just sort of using my scrappy bits. They're probably getting a bit small, those pieces. You want to get all your big bits down first. As I pick up another small bit. What other big bits have we got? That's a good contrast to have. Maybe over there. Let's get that one down and I might be able to lift that a bit. I'm running out of pins. Need lots of pins in this project. I know those line up there. It's not ideal, but I do have this strip of gold. So I'm thinking I could probably bring that up through there to break up the fact that they all match. That's good. No, I don't like it. I don't. Why don't I like it? Because I've got a rough little edge there for start. It's crooked. It's probably too close to that. I don't like it. I might move that over to the point where that flower could be cut off, that red one. We just have this guy here. going to trim that fabric back because it might be a good piece to pop elsewhere. Like there. Yeah, I like it there. There's my pins. Okay, that's good. Ow! 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 Sorry, pin went down my fingernail. Oh, not bad, but bad enough. I still haven't made a feature of these pair. Where can I get you boys in? I think I need to cut you down for a start. Let's do that. Maybe make you a better size. Maybe I can get you across that top. Let's have a play. Where's my pen? Do I do that? I'm changing my mind. Let's get rid of the carnation. Let's just pin them in there before I cut anything. Let's just get that top corner with those beautiful birds up there. Right to the edge of the fabric. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm just fiddling, just thinking, guys, sorry. This green needs to come out and come up. Yeah, I've got my birds. I've got my birds. Happy, happy days. I'll bring that down so you can see. There they are, up that top corner. Love it. So now we can have a fiddle with just patching in the last few elements. Maybe I can get that up there. Maybe that goes up a little bit. So then that can be the piece up there. Let's pin it for now. Okay. Now, this little guy needs a home. It's a bit blendy. Let's just I'm gonna cut the carnation piece down. And I'm going to put that there. And that will hold. That'll hide that little square. I need something there and something there, and I think it needs to be of the gold nature. There's some scrappy bits here I haven't used. Maybe that could go there once I see what else we've got. So I've got a bit of blue. It's a bit blendy. It's a bit blendy. I think it's the orange I'm missing. Got a good strip there of something. That could go across there. There's just no rules. I guess the only rule is try and keep your edges of every piece staggered. See how that lines up there? That technically a no-go, but there might be a piece that can sit over it all that makes that disappear. Yeah, like that carnation piece will break up that edge. Or not. What other pieces have we got here hiding? Oh, look, here's a piece I haven't used. Goodness sakes. That's what we need. A piece in there of that. Oh, it's like finding a little nugget of gold. That's good. That'll just push that one back a bit. Is it good? Tuck it under maybe. It's a bit busy there, isn't it? No, it's not good. Maybe this piece is a better size. Maybe there. What I might do is actually, what might I do? Maybe that's got to go there. Or is it just a random? Yeah, I like that over there. That breaks up those blues. That's it. I like that there, but I need something underneath it. I've got this little morsel. Maybe this little piece can pop up somewhere else down here. Maybe it can sit. Sort of not big enough. Just leave that for a moment. So I think it's orange I need. Where's that orange fabric? This one here. Like I like all the blues and greens and things, but if there's too many together, they're going to just blend. I think I need a piece of this to play with. Sorry, birdies, you've just lost your heads. And I think that needs to be underneath all of that. Just to sort of be peeking through, but I think I don't mind some areas being quite chaotic and busy at all, but then you've got to have areas where you can just take a breath and actually view some design elements that you may be wanting highlighted. I'm just going to get that piece in there. Then I'm going to adjust this one to come down a bit. Just a little bit. And I'm going to pinch it back to there, I think. Yeah. Oh, it's like yummy. Get that gold to sneak in there. Then I've got this little snippet here, which would make a good little patch just to break up that, all those colours coming together, that little piece there. So let's just stitch, not stitch, we're pinning. I have a gap here. Haven't found a home for that, but that might work up there just to break up. I'm gonna trim that and bring that down a fraction. That in there. So as for securing this down, you've got a couple options to get rid of the pins, is what I'm talking about, is you go through and do a tacking stitch. I'm gonna bring that out there. A tacking stitch that is removed at a later date. That would hold everything into position, and you could then have all your pins gone. I like that there. I see now I'm getting down to the nitty-gritties of it, and it's probably overthinking because these little pieces will pop up everywhere, basically. Wherever I want to put a pop of colour. Oh, I like that. Oh. I'm just going to put it there. It's very busy, but I just love it. It's like this whole section here is just this gorgeous collage of William Morris. I just can't stop myself from layering pieces in here. Like it just... I haven't found a home for you. Just going to bring it up a little bit on my lap because I've got pins jabbing me, and we're sort of on the home straight now. Let's have a look at this top corner. Are we happy with that? Do we bring in that carnation? I think I do. I'm just going to, I can tuck it behind. See, I've got a selvage here, which is fine. But I want to bring it in a little bit, I think. If I can tuck that under there, that gives me my edge. Yeah. Let's just pin this corner down now because I'm reasonably happy with that so far. Okay. So I've got a piece there that's needed. Let's get these daisies out of this piece. Yeah. That pushes that piece back a bit. I'm not a lover of that piece, but it's better now that it's been pushed back a little bit into the background. Pin down my birds in this top corner. They're going to be a major feature. nice and flat. I've got plenty of opportunities to do a bit more piecing here. So what's left? We've got a little bit of that, a little bit of gold, a little bit of green, another little piece of gold, green. I have the Morris word again. Let's just trim that. Maybe that can go up in there to connect. Might as well for now. That's a good spot for it. Free spirit, no, that doesn't do anything for me. Okay, now, so out of all that fabric that I trimmed off, that's the little pieces I've got left. Just going to tidy up briefly. So there's also an opportunity to come back through with more patches of Rachel fabric and create more little spots for embroidery. There's a loose pin. Might pop a few more pins as I go back down, so I might as well use them. I think we've covered the background. I think it's looking pretty good. And we've got 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to embellish in some way with something. Whether it's that embroidery base, I don't know, or I create something random myself. Like, there's so much inspiration there. I'd be pretty confident I could, you know, sketch something that would match, I guess, along the design elements. So it actually looks like Rachel's piece of fabric is underneath it all, which is great. I love that. It's such gorgeous fabrics, and they're all different. They're all different, which is lovely, because that just gives me nearly a sampler, I guess, of these fabrics of hers, which would be great because they do disappear pretty quick because I use them a lot. Yeah. Oh, love it. I love how this is so intense in here of just bombing my visual senses with William Morris. And I could just add more and more. Like, this is just the start, guys. Whatever takes my fancy, I can just piece it on. But first, I need to get this all secure. I need to get rid of these pins before they become a health hazard. I've already got it sustained an injury. Yep, that's all the pins gone. Okay. Look at that. How pretty. It may not be your thing, but it's ticking all the boxes for me. I have to come up with a binding. It's a decision another day. It doesn't even need to be bound. It can just be, you know, random, scrappy. Okay, I wish I had the bigger view for you, but that's pretty much it so far. Now I guess I have to decide, what am I going to stitch on it with? What colour? I don't think I want to go too crazy with the colours of stitching, because go to cream. The reason being is I don't want to interfere too much with the fabrics. So I could do a little bit of boro stitch in different angles. I could do some whip stitch. I could do, oh gosh, anything. So let's just cut a piece of cotton, thread up the needle. Where's my old favourite? Where's my old girl? There she is. Is that her? That's her. Let's just stitch something somewhere. And we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start right here on that edge. I'll come in from the edge. What am I going to do? Do I make it a rustic edge? Yeah, I think I do. And it literally just hangs. Or do I frame it? I don't think I want to frame it. I think I want to make it, I don't know. Let's just stitch, it doesn't matter. Get some stitches down. We'll see the feel that that gives me. Here comes my husband. I can hear him walking. He's going to be looking for breakfast and I'm feeling a bit peckish myself. Let's fold that over and make it a little bit more portable so I can adjust the angle to stitch. And let's just do some boro stitch and see what it looks like. It's going to be a bit of an experiment, and I think along this bottom edge I might try some different stitch techniques, see what I like, see what sort of looks right with the fabric, whether it's a combination of a few things or I do a running stitch. We'll just have a play. I'm liking that. I think some of these pieces that are like this, they're just a generic floral piece. They could have a little bit more intense stitching on them. But when I got a piece with a bird, I sort of probably need to frame it more and then maybe do a little bit of embellishing on it. I just don't know. I'm not even sure if the embellishing would actually show up because there's such intense pieces of print that it might be a case of I'm wasting my time, and unless you ran your hands over it, you wouldn't even know that I had added top stitching. I don't know. Maybe I focus in the spots on the linen and hemps and leave that as my showcase of my interpretation of, and just get these pieces patched. I don't know. Decisions. I'm sure it'll come together. It always does. Once you make that first chop, that first cut. Okay. Now I can spin it around so that I can get to this top corner or bottom. I want to make the stitches pretty primitive. Another word for messy. If I overthink it too much, it'll bog me down. So I just want to keep it free, fluid. Okay. That's pretty good. I like that. So I'll just end that off. The good thing about this style of slow stitch too, at any stage you can just pop another piece of fabric on. You can just, you know, build it up from there. Okay, that's pretty good. I think this piece here I might do a lot of stitching on, this gold, and make it a bit of a feature. We'll sort of see how it rolls. All right, I'm going to leave the video at that stage, and I'll be back. All right, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Enjoy your day. Bye for now. Hello, everyone. I'm back. Now, I stopped the video and I went off and made breakfast. One day has passed and I've made some decisions about where I'm going with the base or the background of this piece. So I thought I might as well just add it on to that previous little section, because I think we've done 30 minutes already. So what I had done pre-breakfast, yesterday's breakfast, was I was starting to go around the outer perimeter of all these pieces just with a single running stitch like that there, just to straight down the outer edge to hold it down. So everything was going really well until I got to the gold, and I mentioned in my just a few minutes ago that I would like to do a lot more stitching on this gold to make a bit of a feature. So that's where this camphor style of stitching came in, or boro stitching. And I think I was a little bit inspired by this piece of fabric that I got from Lisa Mattock's Forage. So I think, I don't know, I sort of love that gold section so much that I actually then, it merged into the, I can't get that in, merged into the evening, and I finished this and I was just rubbing my fingers over it and I really love the texture of it. I decided to whip stitch down these blank pieces here so that they're ready for some form of embroidery in the future. So they're just whip stitched wherever I got that raw edge. Most of the time they're tucked in under. So I ended up unpicking the stitching that I had done, and I've boro stitched the whole lot. And then when I got to the William Morris little tag here, because I moved this around a little bit, I had this gap, so I pinched that William Morris and I stitched it down. So I'm really, really happy with it. Now, if this was technically a camphor quilt, I would be doing stitching with really long threads and just going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. That way the back of the quilt could be seen and used without a backing. But because I want to have my boro stitch or my camphor stitch going in different directions to create interest, I will need to come up with a backing if this was to turn into a quilt one day, or even if it's a wall hanging, it probably won't need a backing. So I'm just not sure what this piece will be. Who knows? But in this style of embroidering, what I can literally do now is, if I decide that I want a pop of, say, for example, this is probably a bad example, let's say I want a pop of yellow somewhere, just like that, I can just lay that piece there and then just stitch it in. So really loving the freedom that this is going to give me. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I've made a pretty big decision on how I'm going to proceed. Now this section over here, I had actually anchored it down, but I've since decided that I'm not doing that. It's going to be a boro stitch. So what I've done is I've just snipped it there, and I'm going to just work the cotton back out, and then if I can, knot it off, and that'll be the first row of the style that I'm going to be doing. So I hope that all makes sense. So we have a plan. As for what's going to go in the gaps, I don't know yet. I do have a few ideas, and it'll be something along the lines of following, of course, the style of this print, and sort of trying to come up with my own version or my own interpretation of a William Morris design, and then I can embroider that, embellish it to whatever degree I like. So really pleased with the project. It's going to be, if you've watched me for a little while, you would have seen me work on a Jessie Chorley panel where I just tuned in once a week and gave you a bit of an update. Sometimes I had a lot to tell you, sometimes I didn't have much to show. So I think this piece will follow that line. It will still be part of the William Morris series. We're just now going to sort of merge into this fabric experience next. So what we might do is maybe dedicate a day in the week where I just touch base and show you what I'm doing, whether it best be canvas stitching, and I've got a lot of canvas stitching to do. So whether it's just canvas stitch and I'm just touching base to say, hey, I'm still working on it, or I've started doing something on one of these squares, who knows? So stay tuned. It'll just continue on in the William Morris story. So it's a bit of a series that I think will probably see me through to Christmas, to be honest, because there's a lot of work here. But it's amazing what you can get done in an evening. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares I got done. So yeah, it'll be good. I don't have any major projects on the go of an evening now, other than the Roxy Creations prompts, and they're only a couple of evenings, and then I'm sort of just sitting there mindlessly. So it'll be good to have something that I can just sit by the couch, pick it up, and do some mindless stitching, and just immerse myself in William Morris, because as you know, I just think these designs are beautiful. And who knows, this might end up being part of a quilt. So it'll be lovely to have a panel at least completed that could be worked into something at a later date. So, oh, I wish I could see into the future. Be good to go forward 12 months and see what this becomes, whether I stop at a wall hanging or I continue on and we make a quilt or a throw, or who knows. Should be fun. So yeah, we might make, oh, I don't know. I used to do Jessie Chorley on a Friday, and that gave me then 7 days to do some work on it. I didn't feel like I was under pressure, because the last thing you want is to feel that, and then you start putting your projects to one side because they just become too much. So what I'm doing here is I'm just redoing the bottom corner. I'm starting down here because I want the fabrics to lay as flat as I can. And if I start down here, I'm sort of pushing the fabrics forward, making sure that they look right. They're sitting right. There's no bumps and lumps, but I must admit this stitching, I love the feeling it gives the fabric. It really feels like you've got quite a substantial one piece of fabric. So yeah, I did, I think probably about 3 months ago, I started watching lots of videos on how they make these camphor quilts because it just intrigued me. So I fell down a bit of a rabbit hole. I probably mentioned it somewhere in our time together. And oh, so beautiful, so impressive. And then when I saw these pieces come up with Lisa, I thought, oh, I'm just going to grab a couple little pieces and have a bit of a look. I've got some more little smaller pieces coming from Lula Blue, I think it is. Bluesworth, Lulaworth. Oh, how rude. Where's my phone? It's not with me. Sorry, guys. She sells all sorts of scrap fabrics and things like that. And she had some camphor quilt pieces that were very pastel-y and pinks and really, really pretty. So I decided to order a little pack of those just to have a little look too, to see if they're similar to this blue one in the way that they've been constructed. So yeah, I think this is merging into a homage to camphor quilting as well. It's not really a William Morris style of embroidery at all, but it's my project. And I can do whatever I want. Isn't that right? I can't see myself embroidering over these fabrics. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago in that first section of this video. The prints are so ornate. And I just think that there's enough going on without me adding more stitches. So I think I'm just going to keep the background very simple and really go to town on here. It might, that design might drift into the background, but at this stage, yeah, I'm still thinking about it. I've got plenty of work in front of me to be worried about that. As I'm doing this stitch, I'm also sneaking onto the piece of fabric that's nearby because that's just catching it down as well. I think that was another reason why I didn't like the running stitch around the edge, the sort of more of a patchworky look, is it left exposed the edge of the fabric, which just over time is going to start looking quite messy. So this technique is really good for securing those cut edges. It's all right if your fabric looks old and grungy already and it's vintage. That seems to work. But when your fabric is brand new out of a quilt pack, oh, I don't know, I just feel like it frays a little bit too well. And the frayed look just didn't seem to sit right. I don't know. But anyway, I've made a decision. I'm going to boro stitch the entire piece. Oh gosh. It's not the fastest thing, but at least I didn't decide to seed stitch. If you've watched my Jessie Chorley panel, the entire background of that was seed stitched. Complete lunacy. But gee, I enjoyed it. So I do like a little bit of mindless stitching. I'll just finish this thread off. And then I want to show you what I'm going to do with all these pins. I found last night as I was stitching, the pins were just driving me nuts. I did end up securing this down with a couple extra pins, like folded it back and then pinned it. So I did get it under control, but I'd like to know that they're, you know, gone. So I'm going to use a tacking stitch, and I'm going to spend tonight just tacking it all down, getting rid of those pins so that I'm not dropping them on the carpet. They're not sliding down the back of the couch. And the other thing is I need my pins back for other projects. So that's the plan. Okay, I've got a little bit of thread left I can get back here. And then we will thread up with some normal cotton. And I'll just start doing a tacking stitch. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so there's my corner secure. Just a couple little knots. All right. I know my fingers were quite sore last night when I finally put my work down. I think I pulled up stumps about 11 o'clock at night, and I felt so awake, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm not going to go to sleep, because I was like, just another piece, another square, and I seemed quite worked up. I think I was a bit excited about the whole thing as well, which didn't help. So I just put it down and just started watching properly TV, you know, not just listening. And probably within 10 minutes, it was like I'd taken a breath and started to feel sleepy and weary, so it was great. But I could have kept stitching. I could have gone through to midnight. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing some big stitches right across the fabric. Tacking stitches, they call them. They're probably about 1 centimetre. they're not invisible stitches because I want to see where they are and remove them as I come along. So they're just purely there to become my pins. And I guess take your time, enjoy the process of this. I know it seems a little bit laborious, but what I'll do is as I work over these pieces, I will reposition them, make sure I'm happy with where they're sitting. It gives you a chance to review all your edges to make sure you're happy with the way it looks. Constantly just making sure that fabric is sitting flat. And then you will have no pins in your work, and it won't become quite dangerous for you. When I get to where two fabrics meet, I'll just concentrate a few extra stitches there because I want to know that that's just not going to move. And of course, once the boro stitch comes along, it will be nice and secure. So I'm just coming through here now. I'll come up to the edge of that fabric. Yep. And then just do a running stitch along there just to make sure that I've caught it. You don't even have to knot off this thread because you're pulling it straight out. It's not going to go anywhere. It's only a temporary thing. So now I'm coming up beside this blue square here. So I'm just going to just wait a moment, get rid of this pin, reposition, make sure that everything is sitting nicely. See, that's a bit puckery there, so I'm just going to flatten that out, pop that pin back in. I feel like that's sitting nice. That gold is now sitting properly. Grab my needle and then away we go again. Just catching everything. Oops, pulled it too tight. Take that pressure off of there. Okay, and we're just going to go down this edge. It'll be so much better once this is done, because then I can stuff it in a bag and go places, you know, instead of worrying that it's got pins everywhere. Like I said, I need my pins back. Don't want to keep buying pins because they're in the middle of projects. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm just going to come back. If you're comfortable with the pins, you don't have to do this. By all means, just go for it. If you decide to pull out a pack of fabric, one of your favourites, or if you're looking for a project to do, go to a quilting store and they have these bundles of fabrics done up. You don't need a lot of fabric because you're sort of just piecing it together and stretching it out with maybe some blank fabric, some nice linen you may have to create little pockets of air where you can do something a little bit special on your piece. Okay. Love that. So now I can get rid of that pin, and I'm going to scoot straight into this orange piece because it feels like that's sitting okay too. Nearly finished my piece of cotton. So I'll just come back on myself and that'll hold it in without needing a knot. Okay. All right, everyone. I'm going to leave the video there because I've got a lot to do and it'll be very boring for you to watch me put this all together. But as I said, my next stitch will be to just tack it down. Then I'll just start meandering through doing my foundation stitch just to make it all one big beautiful piece. And in that process, I'll just sort of start thinking about what I'm going to do in these little gaps. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. And like I said, these videos will just hop on the end of the William Morris series and probably come out on a Friday, just so that you can catch up with what I'm up to. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.